All right, everyone, welcome back once again to a Beefcast production, kicking off here with the Clan Buzz Open #1. This is going to be game 2 out of a best-of-3 series from these two players. The first player here is going to be our random player, down 0-1 in the top left-hand corner of TSL4 Ohana. He is Disco, playing Protoss as a random player. And Wendell, why don't you introduce here in the bottom right?
I'm sorry. We at the bottom right we have Zwirwel. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce his name. I'm not exactly sure which country he's from either. But he basically just beats Disco in the first round of the game.
Yeah, like
And
go ahead.
go ahead. Oh yeah, it seemed like a pretty strong standard Zerg player. From what
Yeah.
I've seen.
Last game that we did see was there on TSL4 Daybreak. Like my co-caster DC30 did mention, Zwirwel did go ahead and take out our random player playing Terran last time. So random players do get a distinct advantage in the unpredictability of their builds. That's really where they get their advantage, and just being able to be versatile and knowing each one of the races pretty well. However, each one of their builds and each one of their races isn't going to be as refined as somebody that plays specifically one race. So we'll see what Disco managed to pull out here. Right now, the Zerg player does manage to get into his base and sees that there is a gateway down. So that was going to be a 12 gate, I believe. 12 gate and no gas on 14. So we'll see what this build actually is. From my Brotoss experience, it's already non-standard. Forge Fast Command is standard in the current metagame, and with that gateway going down, the Zerg player is feeling confident enough to take a early hatchery, hatch before pool here on 15 supply, and continuing to drone after it, not even thinking about a spawning pool yet. Gas going to be going down there on 16 supply for our Protoss player. Zerg finally going to be dropping spawning pool there on 17 supply. Overlord's going to be making their way across the map, trying to get any kind of vision up over here. And the drone continuing to be pesky there in Disco's base, making sure that he's able to see everything that comes up. Right now, our Zerg player has seen that there is a gas out, so he's going to be very aware that this could be something like a 4-gate. What are you thinking right now, Wendell?
Well, to me, it looks like a standard opening. Perhaps he might pump out a. Let's see what the production is. If he pumps out, oh, this works for a Terran, but I'm not sure how it works for Zerg. But a Stalker, just for a little bit of early pressure, Stalker Zealot, but just to force the Zerg to pump out some Zerglings. But we'll have to see. It looks like what is he researching here? He is researching warp gates, so I think he's gonna lay back. I don't know if this is gonna be too aggressive, but it looks like there is 2 more gates going down. Actually, it is going to be a 4-gate.
Yeah, going all the way up to a total of 4 gates right now. So a very nice job of Disco managing to hit those timings. But on the other hand, our Zerg player has managed to get repeated scouts in every time. And if we look at the Zerg player's vision, he does see a total of those 3 gates right now, probably expecting that there is a 4th gate. He did go ahead and get gas very early, so speed is already on the way. About the time that this warp gate finishes, all 4 of these gates finish, excuse me, speed's going to be about 3/4 of the way done. And the Zerg player is going to be able to be in a position where he might be able to defend this. Zergling's going to be a primary means of defense, although a Roach Warren is going down right now. 2 drones back into the gas. Currently, I'd like to see a 3rd drone go into that gas, just so you can get a little bit more Roach production off of these 2 bases. The Protoss player over here is going to be banking quite a few minerals, going to be starting production on his warp gate cycles relatively quickly. However, there is not a there is a probe in position. Proxy pylon already going to be down to the 3rd, but these slowlings are going to be making their way all the way across the map right now, and Zergling is going to be taking down one of those stalkers right now. The Zealot going to be making a valiant effort, but beautiful micro here by our Zerg player, managing to only lose 1 Zergling, taking out the stalker and the Zealot combination. The Overlord is going to be spotting that there is in fact a proxy pylon, and Zerglings making their way over. Speed can be finishing up rather quickly here, but there is enough Protoss forces to defend the Zergling aggression, and that proxy pylon for now is not going to be falling. The Zerg player has done a very nice job of preparing for this defense, however. these speedlings could be making their way all the way around and could be looking for a snipe on one of these proxy pylons, but a spine crawler in the main, as well as continued roach production. It's looking like the Zerg player might be able to defend this. This is going to be a very costly endeavor for both individuals to continue this pressure. Zealots are going to be the majority of the force right now. No +1, so these Zealots are going to be good against Zerglings, but not amazing against Zerglings. And poking up the ramp, seeing that there's a spine crawler, a couple of roaches, and all these Zerglings is giving our Protoss player a little bit of pause. He's not sure if he wants to continue at this point. And a big round of sentries and stalkers, and it's going to come down to the engagement right now. The Protoss player is continuing to make his way into the Zerg base right now, just posturing, seeing if he can get a couple more warp-in cycles, and chrono boosting those gateways, trying to get that out as fast as possible. We'll see how the Zerg player chooses to engage.
If I was playing as Protoss, I know this is a 4-gate, but I would go ahead and just plop down that Nexus and just keep putting pressure at the front. But this can be dangerous when you do that. I've done this as a Terran player, and once you try to contain a Zerg, they just, off of 2 bases, they can pump out a lot of units. So it's kind of dangerous just to stay at the front of a Zerg's base if you're trying to contain them.
And so Protoss continuing to try to pressure in here, does manage to lose a Stalker and a Zealot, not taking anything right now. Roach is going to be coming out, and they do manage to snipe that pylon. Going to be able to supply block the Protoss player right there, and the Zerg going to be coming in. There's no force fields available right now. The Zealot's going to be making pretty good work of those Zerglings, but all the Stalkers in the back are not able to put any pressure onto the Roaches. The Roaches going to be able to clean up almost everything. Force field's going to be blocking the ramp, but a few Zerglings do manage to make their way through, and they are going to be cleaning up the rest of these Stalkers. The Roaches and the Zerglings are making their way over to the other 2 proxy pylons. And we'll see if they manage to clean up the rest of the Protoss army here and possibly end this game right away. Protoss supply all the way down to 26, whereas the Zerg supply is all the way up at 60. The last Stalker is going to be cleaned up in addition to the 2 proxy pylons, and at least for right now, the aggression is completely over for the Protoss. We'll see what plan he has to fall back on back at his main base.
There's that second Nexus finally going down for Disco at the 10-minute mark. So we got a big push towards the Roaches and Zerglings.
Yeah, Speedlings and Roaches going to be making their way across the map. So, of course, after your early pressure does fail against Protoss, you do need to fall back on something like a second Nexus. But it also leaves you incredibly vulnerable to all this aggression from the Zerg player. No sentries being warped in at this point, still operating off of only 1 gas. He took the second gas, but he never put harvesters in it, so he doesn't have the gas to take all those sentries. Sentry going to be able to get 1 nice force field down, but it doesn't manage to block that entire ramp. Zerglings and Roaches going to be swapping into the Protoss player's natural here. The Nexus does get canceled as he realizes he's not going to be able to hold that, and the Zerg player making sure that the Nexus was canceled, managing to pull his army back, taking very minimal losses, and setting the Protoss player even further behind.
Yeah, if, it's not looking good for the Terran again in this match, but he's operating off of 1 base, Protoss.
Yeah, the Zerg player is actually looking very good. I know you were mentioning these are gold or platinum players, but as far as I'm concerned, this Zerg is playing really, really well. Looking back at the Zerg space, he has started his +1 carapace upgrade for his ground units, so that is a very useful upgrade for your Zerglings to have against Zealots. Manages to make them not one-shot anymore. So Zwirwel is going to go ahead and say that he's bringing out the big boy plays, so I'm interested to see what that does in fact entail. He does go up to a total of 4 gases here, only mining off of 3 of them right now. The drone count is going to be rather low, only 31 drones, so his economy is not quite where he wants it to be. Dropping a 3rd hatchery and going up the layer off of only 31 drones, not something I'm quite so sure of, but I would like to see him pump out a lot more drones here when he gets the opportunity. And look at that. Right there, 11 drones going to be coming out. So we'll see what he does decide to tech up into.
Yeah, well, I play with these guys on peep mode a lot. And I would think that Disco would know more of his style. But I remember Zwirwel played a little bit more better than some of the players on the peep mode. But as you can see here in the tournament.
All right, with that Roach Warren upgrading Roach speed right now, it's now looking more like there's going to be a Roach Zergling timing attack. That player might have not been so much to get higher tech up as much as just upgrade those Roaches, and our Zerg player might be looking to go all in here on 3 bases with just a large swarm of Zerglings and Roaches, which can be very effective against a pure Gateway army. On the other hand, our Protoss player has managed to reestablish his second base. Nexus is going to be close to halfway done here, and looking to move out on the map with that force of Gateway units. No upgrades going to be coming in for the army right now, but just that amount of Zealots and Stalkers with those couple sentries could be rather effective at engaging a Zergling Roach army. However, moving out onto creep right now, not using an observer to clear any creep right now. It looks like the Protoss player is actually going to get flanked. The force field's going to be going down, managed in segments. Some of those Roaches funnel them in right there, but the Zealots are going to be inside of the main Protoss army here. Roach is going to be getting an absolutely beautiful concave, and this is an extremely bad situation for the Protoss. Roach is going to be coming in from all angles and managing to clean up every single unit from the Protoss player. Once again, down to only 39 supply is our Protoss. Warping in back at home, 3 Zealots and 2 Stalkers versus the absolutely huge army of 32 Roaches and 9 Zerglings with +1 armor. The Zerglings going to be making their way up into the main base right now, and Roach is going to be following them very quickly. Speed is completed, so the Roaches are going to be just absolutely very fast making their way over. It's going to be target firing down the Nexus. It looks like there's no defense put up right now by our Protoss player. Managed to evacuate all of those probes, taking only minimal losses. A sentry going to be warped in, does not manage to make use of any of that energy. Probe's going to be coming in, trying to join the fight, and Disco lets a laugh out, saying, "Oh man, what can you do? This is what happens when your 4-gate fails, right?"
This is what happens when your 4-gate fails, and then you got some hesitation. It's like once you 4-gate, you gotta have a backup plan.
The Zealots going to be making their way onto the Roaches rather cost effectively for the Zerg player, managing to minimize the surface area from those Roaches. And GG well played comes out of our Protoss player, and Zwirwel manages to take the series in a 2-0 fashion and advances to the round of 8. Any closing thoughts there, DC30?
Just don't hesitate if you do that 4-gate.
All right.
Right. Don't hesitate if you 4-gate.
That's a pretty good way to close it out. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Beef, your casting host. Joining me once again was DC30. We are here in day 1 of the Clan Buzz Open, number 1. Going to be moving on into the round of 8, I think it is here. But make sure to tune in and catch how the rest of this tournament plays out. Thanks for watching.